All right, let's get started and people can just trickle in when they do. Just a housekeeping note before we begin. This will be recorded and made available on our public YouTube within about a week, so I will be sending around a link and other resources after the webinar. Good morning and afternoon, and welcome to CFP Board's Making the Most of the Mentor Program webinar. My name is Grace Murtha, and I am the Marketing Specialist and Mentor Program Administrator here at CFP Board. Today, I'll give a brief overview of CFP Board's Mentor Program, including eligibility, duration, and purpose and best practices. After that, you'll hear from CFP Board Ambassador LeTian Dong regarding her experience being a mentor. You will also have the opportunity to ask any questions you may have at the end. And there is a Q&A button in the bottom of your screen, so feel free to start putting questions in as they come up. Eligibility. All candidates preparing for an upcoming CFP exam are eligible to participate in the mentor program. The official mentor relationship lasts around 3 to 4 months and is ended after you sit for the exam. There are several reasons why CFP Board's mentor program is beneficial for candidates. Mentors help candidates focus on a variety of topics like time management, study strategies, staying motivated, dealing with work-life balance, and so much more. You'll also be able to get valuable insight from your mentor's own experience preparing for and passing the exam. Our Mentee Success Kit is an amazing resource to help you navigate the mentor program experience. And I will send this out with an email following the webinar with all of the resources that I mention in this webinar. I will now pass it on to LeTian to talk about her experience as a CFP Board mentor.
Thank you, Grace. Like she mentioned, I'm LeTian. I've been in the industry for 12 years. I obtained my CFP in March of 2020. So right before COVID shut the entire world down. In addition to the CFP designation, I have 4 other designations. I'm currently with TNG Private Wealth, a wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise. We're women-led, we keep it real, and we're making this industry better. So love to connect. There's my contact information. And I figured I want to spend probably 10 or so minutes going over some tips for the exam and definitely leave time at the end for Q&A. And like Grace mentioned, please drop it in the Q&A section as you have questions along the way. So CFP, it is a big exam. Has been described as like a river, a mile wide, but only a foot deep. So there's a lot of materials to cover. And today I want to kind of go from 3 different areas: content, mindset, and tactical. On content, this is probably the area where people initially think to focus on the most. It's the hardest because the exam is about testing your mastery of the knowledge, but it's actually also the most straightforward aspect. So while it's important to master the planning topics, I just remember back in the day, all of us were talking about, oh, I'm great on retirement. I need to study more on investment, and general planning, it's great, but not so familiar with insurance, or tax planning is just really, really hard. And whether you have experience with estate planning, right, there's a whole wide range. But remember, do not write off the ethics. So professional conduct, regulation, and psychology of planning. They may feel, oh, it's easier topics to master than, say, modern portfolio theory or memorizing all the tax credit, but it is very important. So more reason to take those sections seriously and get those points. I highly recommend a prep course. So there's a variety of them: Dalton, Kaplan, Zahn, Danko, like just to name a few. Prep courses help you create like the structure, the accountability, and also gives you a lot more practice questions. I would say, like, know the type of studier you are. We all been through school, so exam taking isn't new. This is just a much bigger exam than what most of us are used to, right? So for me, I knew it was very important for me to go through a live in-person review. I needed that in-person energy, and that's how I selected my prep course. So similarly, like really think back through, like, how well do you study? Like what is your style, and pick the one that's best suited for you. And I would say, regardless of how you choose to study and prepare, don't memorize the content. Like with every question, think through how does that apply to actual scenarios? Because this exam truly tests your mastery of the information and not recall. So and think through, all right, in this scenario, this question, how is that applicable? And a lot of the mentees that I worked with in the past have told me that, wow, this is a really good question, but it would be hard for me to categorize. Oh, is this a tax question? Is this an insurance question? Is this an investment question? Sometimes questions do overlap. So don't think too hard about which category it falls into, but do think of it as like one comprehensive um, uh, exam that tests like how you apply across the different categories. And FYI, OBBBA is not going to be on this November exam. That's starting March of 2026. Okay, so moving on to mindset. I would say mindset is the most important aspect to focus on. This is really the area where it determines if you're the 60-some% that passes or the 40-ish% that fails. One of the things I always say is to burn the bridge. So there's only two options. So either you decide now that you're not ready for the November exam, which was me. I finished my last course in August of 2019, and I wanted to cram for the November. And my mentor at the time said, don't do it. Do not do that to yourself. Plan ahead for March, give yourself enough time. So that's what I did. But if this is the right time for you, decide now that you will pass in November. Like you are 10,000% committed that you're studying and you're passing in November, and then burn the bridge behind you. So what does that mean is making sure that you're also setting the right expectations and buy-in from your family and friends, and making sure you have the support structure around it, because really this is like a marathon. It's not a sprint. So you have to prepare for it like that. There will be fatigue. It's natural. Most people don't stay in hyper-focus mode for more than 2 hours. And also with how our school system is set up, we're not used to, for example, being in hyper-focus mode or in taking tests for more than 2 hours. So you will really have to focus to build stamina by doing practice exams and really build up practice question test taking where you can comfortably, I would say, focus for 4-hour blocks. Because if you know you can focus for that 4-hour block, these like the 2-3 hour blocks will feel a little bit easier and less stressful. And that's the next thing. Figure out what works best for you to control stress. Whether it's breathing exercises, like the whole breathe in for 5, hold for 4, out for 3. I don't know. That breathing exercise is not my thing, but it is for a lot of people. So that, or if you have a mental break ritual, do affirmations. I know it may sound a little crazy. I was the one with the crazy affirmations that I read myself when I woke up every morning. It's like, I will pass this exam. And really focus on progress, not perfection. And especially in the beginning, it may feel like, oh, I mastered some, but not all, or when you go through the different sections and then you go back around as, oh, I thought I had it, but I forgot now. So again, focus on the progress, right? Your mindset is very, very important. And especially if you use an exam prep course, what I found, and also from my past mentees, like those questions are designed to be very hard. And the way they're designed is really to kick your butt into gear and go, all right, the exam is hard, let's study. It's better to be more prepared than underprepared, right? But what we don't want is we don't want you to be paralyzed with fear. So so it's a balance, right? If there's a moment where you go, oh no, I can't do this, this is too hard, like then do your mental exercise, whatever it is, to find, like, recenter yourself mentally, and really just focus on what section or topic that really has you maybe freaking out about, right? And have a targeted practice or learning session around that. And again, it's about learning yourself. For me, I was kind of a study procrastinator. So my part of my mentor system basically told me, okay, pretend the exam is actually 2 weeks before your actual exam date. So you really give yourself, I gave myself a earlier artificial deadline. So I know that, okay, if I'm prepared with 2 weeks to spare, I'll feel much better, right? And then, and if that first question on the exam is usually pretty important, if you know that a lot of times, like you have a lot of nerves going into this exam, just mentally prepare yourself that you're not going to read the first question on that exam correctly. A lot of and don't let that phase you, right? So if you're expecting that going in, then you may not panic, because a lot of the times it's all random. The first question you get could be very easy, and that gives you the boost of confidence you need. But that first question may be a throwout question that is really hard, and don't let that trip you up. So again, it's about knowing yourself, finding that balance between confidence and content mastery. Okay, and that brings us to the last section, tactical strategies, which is probably what most of you are interested in. So again, November exam is between the 3rd through the 12th, I believe, and then if you're like me and you're a slight procrastinator, pretend your exam is say October 20th, right? And really, the goal is to rehearse, practice like you play. This was one of the most valuable pieces of advice that I received. Do at least 2 timed full practice exams where you mimic the exam day situation as closely as possible, including the time that you wake up, what you're eating for breakfast, get actually if your exam is like find out wherever your exam location is, get out of the house, drive there, drive back, and then start your exam on the time that that it's scheduled for, and do it exactly like exam day. Do not cheat on the schedule. The closer you can to simulating the exam on a mock exam day, the better it'll work. And again, go through the practice exams, and then take the break after the first 3-hour block, and then and again, eat like what you would eat on that day. I do not recommend eating, say, a full pizza or burgers during that break. You're going to be in a food coma likely. But also you don't want your body to be upset, right? If you're not used to eating bunny food, for example. So test out how your body does. My meal was protein bars, a protein shake. So something that's like, that gives you energy. And I had like a, what do you call it? A trail mix bag. So that was really good. And that was the right thing for me because I tested it again ahead of time. So I knew how my body was reacting to the food. So again, practice like you play. So the closest that you simulate on those 2 days, the better. And again, try to move up those test days a little bit and give yourself some cushion on the back end, because if you needed to squeeze in, say, a third one, you have time to do that. On the exam, definitely answer every single question. There's no penalty for guessing, like flag and come back. So if you're finding yourself taking more than a minute and you're getting stuck, not on the way to the question, flag, pick a consistent letter, like everybody said, oh, flag C, whatever it is, and then come back. So you should be practicing spending about a minute per question. And I would say, trust your first instinct. If you come back to those flag questions and you go, you're not sure, or you go, I don't feel great about this answer, I kind of want to change it, don't do that. Trust your first instinct. It's always better to say, for example, if you know exactly why you need to change the answer, like, oh, I misread the question, I miscalculated, I know I miscalculated, then change the answer. Otherwise, it's usually best to trust your first instinct. All right, I know I've gone over a lot of information. let's see, Grace, do you see the Q&A?
I, oh, sorry, just tripped. I do, but I might stop sharing so we can do that more streamlined.
Sure.
All right, so we have one question. Um, One of our questions is, what are some tips for maintaining a productive relationship with my mentor throughout this program?
That's a really good question. I would say the best relationships I had, it's bilateral, right? I reached out to my mentee initially to schedule that first um, introductory meeting, understand what they need, and set a cadence for meeting up all the way up until exam date. And it is also very important for the mentee to be proactive and go, okay, I'm really finding myself struggling with this. I know we said we're not meeting for another week or two, but I really need help. So I always let my mentees know if you need anything or have a moment where you just need to talk or figure out a new strategy, whatever it is, do reach out. Um, for me, I'd like to build in some flexibility in the meeting schedule to be able to accommodate that.
That's super helpful. Thank you. This question, I don't know if you'll be able to speak to it since it's so new, but someone said, would the CFP practice app on the smartphone be a good investment for your mentor program?
Ooh, I am actually not familiar with that app. Grace,
That is totally
who
fair.
who
Yeah.
who would be the person?
So if you are curious about the practice app, I would email our products inbox, and that's products@cfpboard.org, and we can tell you all about that. But yeah, that's we'll move on to a different question. Someone said, "What are some topics I should ask about my mentor about in my mentor sessions?"
It could be anything that you want. Again, I would highly recommend. Today, I went over it from really three different categories because that gives you a little bit more broad and all-encompassing range of like things to focus on. So again, it is very important to not only focus on like the material itself, but mindset is also very important. And how you study and how you take the actual exam is also important. So those are all very good areas to tackle and to make sure not to leave any of them out.
Yeah, I know this question comes up a lot. How often should we be meeting with our mentors?
So the schedule that I had, it also depends on the mentee, right? And their schedule and how they're doing. Usually if the relationship starts a little bit earlier, it like the cadence becomes more and more frequent up until the actual exam date. Uh, because at first it's like the the cadence and what we're talking about may not be applicable until they've gone through that first mock exam, for example, and or they went through their prep review course, the live review classes.
Yeah.
So I
Um,
would say definitely at least every 1 to 3 weeks, like when you're getting closer. And a lot of times in the beginning, we'll meet like just like once for the first month and probably twice for the second month, and then 3 or 4 times as we're getting closer.
Right, thank you. Someone said, if you know you are a poor test taker, can you be matched with a mentor that has the same issue?
Grace, I don't know if like the profile files for that, but I do know that you can request mentor relationship from multiple people, and that would be a very good know yourself question to bring up to that
Mhm.
prospective mentor and go and get a little bit more specific. Would be great.
Yeah.
When you describe yourself as a poor test taker, what does that mean? Is
Yeah.
it you need um, is it that you think we take too long and it's hard to get it down to that 1 minute per question that we're trying to target? Or is it that maybe sometimes you know the content, but it's hard to circle the right
Yeah.
answer when it's on the actual exam? So again, know yourself and what specifically what that is. And when you have that initial conversation with your mentor, like that would be a good topic to go into to know if you found the right match.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I've heard that a lot of people will, have brief conversations with many different mentors to try and get a feel of if that mentor is the right person for them. Is that something you would suggest to do?
Yep, and I'll absolutely be open to it. That if someone reach out and say, "Hey, this is my situation. Is this something that you would be able to help with?" Right? I like proactive mentees because it helps me to know what to focus on as well. If the mentee can self-describe, okay, this is what I need help with.
Yeah. I see one question that says, do you need to have signed up for this already for the November exam? The answer is no. Enrollment closes on September 12th. I will have a QR code sent to y'all so that you can make sure to sign up because it really is a great program. And then there's a few more questions that we have. This is a really good one. Why should I participate in the mentor program? What are the benefits of having a mentor?
For me, it was definitely the accountability and coming from someone who already taken it and passed, to give you a little bit better insight than say what was in my head before I took the exam. And also it is, for me, it was also a great resource to have somebody that I can email and go, I don't know why I'm getting this question wrong.
Right.
It's on the practice exam. It makes no sense. Did somebody make a typo or am I just
Yeah.
reading it completely wrong?
Yeah.
So it was also great to have a liner resource.
Awesome. And we also get this question a lot. People really want to know how they should prepare for their first session with their mentor. What are some tips that they should bring to that conversation? How should they get that started?
Um, so for mentees that I work with, I usually come to the table with a list of questions to really understand where they are. So it's actually even more helpful if mentees could like think through some of these profile questions, what type of test taker you are. And again, like someone mentioned before, if you describe yourself as a poor test taker, what does that mean? What are specifically the areas that you might be struggling with? Uh, your mastery of content, like how good do you feel about certain sections? Do you have a prep course, right? If you have other accountability buddies or systems, do you have friends that are taking this exam with you? So those are all very good information to have and share with your mentor.
Thank you. Someone asked about if we will be assigned a mentor or if we request one. You can go into the system and request one. Like I said, I'll share with the resources after. You can also be manually matched, so you can decide on that. I think a lot of people have a preference for getting to know their mentor, having good conversations, and kind of matching on that personality level. And I assume that's probably what you would suggest as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
But another question that is just general, what are some best practices for participating in the mentor program?
That's a really good question. I would say this is a really good resource. So yes, it's free, but the value isn't zero, right?
Yeah.
There's great value, and a lot of the times it's similar to a lot of things in life. You get what you put in. So if you are committed to the meetings and showing up like when you're scheduled, um, and prepare ahead of time, right? A lot of times that I work with my mentee in the past is there will be somewhat like homework assignments for our next meeting, right? It is like I mentioned before, it's like a marathon. So if we're in the middle and then we're getting somewhat closer to that exam day, and I say, okay, before our next meeting, really let's test out how well you do with taking, say, 230 questions in a 4-hour block, right? And practice a little bit beyond those 3-hour sections and see how well you do. Then it's helpful if the mentee takes that assignment and then test it out to know, okay, how well did I do? Like, don't cheat on the practice, right? And that's something more tangible in the next meeting that we can work on and go, okay, are we good with focusing? Are we good with like the about 1 minute per question? Then go into like the content, right? If it's a wide variety of questions. What sections are you struggling with? Then that makes it a lot easier to dive into and problem solve.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That was an amazing answer. Building off of what we talked about earlier, a lot of people wonder how they know if their mentor is a right match for them. How do you suggest finding the perfect match for you?
Mm, I personally, I have full disclosure. I found my mentor because it was the program that I was signed up for.
Right,
So
right.
a lot of the time, it's not super critical that it's quote unquote the perfect match. Maybe perfection doesn't quite exist in this
Mhm.
world, but it is making sure that whatever the needs that you have, that mentor can help you address, and that both of you have the same level of time ability to be able to meet, right? Say if you're someone that really you need someone to talk to and kind of more hand holding on a weekly basis, and the mentor that you find do not have that level of time commitment, then that's not a match. But otherwise, if you share the same amount of time commitment and you don't hate the person, right? It is very valuable, I would say, what each mentor have to say. Everyone's experience is a little bit different. You're not going to find a mentor that has your exact same experience. But I would say most of the mentees that find me and request me, they tend to be women. Like I do think that women approach planning and test taking a little bit differently. So if you subscribe to the same like thoughts, then right, find a female mentor. So and vice versa.
Absolutely. So I know the actual relationship of the mentor program lasts around 3 to 4 months and it gets you across the finish line. I know you mentee a lot of people. Do you find benefit in maintaining that relationship after your mentee has passed the exam?
Absolutely. Just heard back from a previous mentee relatively recently. I do keep up, and we follow each other on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm on the East Coast, so they're definitely mentees all over the country, and sometimes it's great to have that network, right? My firm could be hiring, uh, right? There may be other opportunities to collaborate.
Thank you. I think we have answered all of our questions. If anyone has anything else, let me know in the next few seconds. I will also put back, oh, we have another question. I will put back the uh, QR code if I can. Oh, just to reiterate, our enrollment period closes on September 12th. You can scan this QR code. There's several really helpful resources there, like the Mentee Success Kit, kind of goes into depth of how do I plan for the first day? How do I find the right mentor? Some things that we touched on today. So I really hope that you take advantage of this program because, like we said, it's free and obviously it is a great way to foster relationships and learn more about the exam process.
Grace, I might see another
Oh,
question about rescheduling fee. Uh, I think the simple answer is just no. And that's why
yes.
I specifically said burn the bridge. If you're not ready for November, plan for March. Like I planned for March 2020. So
Yeah.
little did I know I would be coming up on COVID. But the same thing, it's like if you're not ready this time around, don't do it. Like, why would you put yourself through that, right? It's not
Yeah.
cheap to reschedule. So be committed, 1,000%, 10,000% committed. Know that you're going to pass, and then do all the things that you need to, like the studying, the mindset, all the strategies that I mentioned, and pass.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I will go back a few slides just so you can check out LeTian's contact info if you are interested. I know you're very open to talk with people going through this process, so we really appreciate you being here and talking about your experience.
Maybe one more question.
Yeah, sorry,
Now
I
that I
can't
have
see.
Q&A
Yeah.
up, what if I wanted to have you match me with a mentor, what do I need to do? I believe Grace addressed that earlier. That's going to be on the follow-up instructions,
Yep.
links
Yep.
to that website, and you can search for mentors and be able to send a request right there on the website.
Yeah. Very, very easy to use platform, which I'm appreciative of. But again, we are able to manually match as well. So, all
Perfect.
right.
Thank you, Grace,
Thank
for
you
this
so
opportunity.
much.
That was
Of
great.
course. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk this through with us, and I know that your mentees appreciate all that you do for them. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day, y'all.